Well, our top story this morning, the dilemma over who will govern the City of Gold will end today. The Johannesburg Council will hold its first meeting. With differences between the EFF and the DA over Herman Mashaba having been resolved, the odds are now stacked against the ANC. Smaller parties have a significant stake in calling the shots, but with most of them siding with the DA, Parks Tau may have to vacate his seat. All eyes are now on Johannesburg's Municipal Council meeting to find out if Herman Mashaba will be the latest entrant into the DA Mayor's Club. Let's take a look then at the numbers and how they stack up. The total number of seats in the metro is 270. Therefore, a minimum number of seats needed for the 50% plus one majority is 136. The number of seats which each party has as it stands, the ANC have 121, the DA have 104, the EFF 30, the IFP 5, the AIC 4, and the parties each with one seat are the Freedom Front Plus, the ACDP, UDM, COPE, PA and Aljama. Now, as of now, after the coalition deals were sealed by the DA, their numbers are crossing that majority mark. It stands at 143. Now, the scales might be tilted in the DA's favour, but no one can call those results in advance. Well, joining us now to discuss some of the implications today, ANN7 reporter Michael Apple will be following the issue and this story today. Michael joins us now live from our ANN7 newsroom. Michael, good morning to you. Well, it's fascinating to see how those numbers stack up. I mean, is it fairly confident that that's how the vote will go today?
Very good morning to you, Peter, and to our viewers. Well, I don't think the DA is going to be happy until it's all done and dusted. Speaking to Refuwe Ntseki, the national spokesperson for the DA in Tshwane on Friday last week, she was saying about Johannesburg that they're still rather anxious. I mean, you have these commitments from various parties. We know that they have that broad alliance with the Freedom Front Plus, the ACDP, the IFP, the UDM. And as we've pointed out there, they have the numbers, but I mean, the EFF still very undecided, but they've thrown their lot in with the DA, and let's see if they vote along those same lines today. It's going to be very interesting. Just seeing what happened in Tshwane and what may happen here today. The numbers, they may reflect on the screen, but how are people going to vote on the day? It's going to be very interesting indeed, Peter.
It's fascinating, Michael, I guess, considering the importance of Johannesburg in our national landscape, the economic hub. Let's talk a little bit about Herman Mashaba, his campaign, some speculation or some controversy around the EFF support of him. What was his sort of campaign message?
Well, he's a businessman through and through, and many would argue that that's what you need when you're running local government. It's basically a business. It's about providing a service. People are paying money for a particular service, and those services need to be rendered. So that's what local government is all about. It's not about politicizing issues. It's about delivering services to the people, basic services. It's your water, it's your housing, it's your road infrastructure, sanitation. That's what people want. A lot of people on social media are saying they don't really care who runs the metro as long as their taxpayers' money is being used efficiently and effectively. But of course, just psychologically and practically for the Democratic Alliance, it is the economic hub of Africa. Some would say definitely of the country. Some would say of Africa. And it's a massive, massive blow to the African National Congress if they do lose this metropolitan municipality. Johannesburg is going to be very important. We know that the Democratic Alliance now has the executive capital of the country. If they get the economic hub, that's going to be a massive win for them. But it is going to be broadly based on consensus from all these various parties. And let's see if they get the numbers today, Peter.
Let's look at Parks Tau. You say it's a massive blow for them. I mean, I spoke to Secretary General Gwyneth Mantashe saying heads will roll. I mean, is it likely that should the ANC now sit in opposition benches that we'll see a clean out in leadership in the ANC in Gauteng?
Well, you know it. A lot of political analysts have been saying that Parks Tau, who's admittedly done a very good job getting the books of the Johannesburg Metro into the black there and getting a ratings upgrade for the city of Johannesburg, he's actually done a sterling job, and he's one of the casualties that's fallen by the wayside here as a result of these local government elections. And him just speaking over the weekend, I think he said that, this is a lesson that the ANC is going to learn, that national issues took center stage here instead of local government issues, and that's really hurt the ANC. And the local government issues were drowned out by the national discourse, the national dialogue that was going on. So it is one of the casualties of this local government elections. Councillor Parks Tau, I was actually where he was voting, and they were very explicit about the support that they had, and they were confident that they were going to make it across. Councillor Parks Tau was probably one of the people who thought he would retain his job, but we saw the numbers did not match up, and he is one of those casualties, Peter.
Michael, one last question. Just take us through what we expect today, how voting works, what happens at these council meetings.
Well, it all seems to depend. In Rustenburg, you had the immediate votes going ahead of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker. You have a presiding judicial officer. In Tshwane, it was Judge Aubrey Ledwaba, the Deputy Judge President of North Gauteng High Court. So you have a judicial figure who presides over the proceedings with some IEC officials until the new Speaker is the first vote. Once that Speaker then takes up the position, then the Speaker presides over the voting of the Chief Whip, the Deputy Speaker, and then the Mayor. In Tshwane, we had 214 councillors first being sworn in batches of 15, which can take some time. Not entirely sure how it's going to run in Johannesburg today, but foreseeably we'll have a presiding officer who then the first order of business is the Speaker, and then the Speaker will decide whether they're first going to swear in all the councillors and PR councillors, or are we going to get straight to the Mayor and the Deputy Speaker and the Chief Whip position.
Michael, thanks. We'll leave it there. Michael Appel will be following the story from us from Johannesburg today. You can stay tuned to AN7 for some of the live coverage there of the election and voting processes for the possibly new mayor of Johannesburg.